Before we seek to understand the actions of others, we must first calm the noise within ourselves. Only from stillness can we observe clearly. Today, I invite you to pause, to not react, but to listen and to reflect. The world is full of alliances, conflicts, and interests that shift like the wind, but nothing happens without reason. Nothing is truly random. In this journey, I ask one question: why is America openly supporting Pakistan against India? This is not a matter of opinion, but of understanding, of looking deeper than the surface headlines, deeper than emotions. It is about observing the flow of history, the weight of strategy, and the subtle energy of global power. So, breathe, stay present, and walk with me as we uncover the layers behind this complex reality. The strategic location of Pakistan has long been one of its greatest geopolitical assets, particularly in the eyes of global powers like the United States. Situated at the crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East, Pakistan shares borders with key countries such as China, Iran, Afghanistan, and India. This geographical position places Pakistan in a vital spot for military, economic, and political maneuvering, making it indispensable in the larger chessboard of global geopolitics. For the United States, maintaining influence in this region is not merely a preference. It is a necessity dictated by long-term strategic objectives. The proximity of Pakistan to the Arabian Sea grants the country access to critical maritime routes, which are essential for both trade and military operations. Gwadar Port, developed with Chinese investment, sits at the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz, through which a significant portion of the world's oil passes. Although the port is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, the U.S. watches it closely and understands the importance of counterbalancing Chinese influence. Supporting Pakistan in certain diplomatic and military areas can help Washington maintain a degree of leverage in a region increasingly influenced by Beijing. Another factor that enhances Pakistan's strategic value is its closeness to Afghanistan. During the U.S.-led war on terror, Pakistan served as a crucial ally, offering logistical support, intelligence sharing, and military bases. Although relations between the two countries have fluctuated over the years, the infrastructure and experience developed during that time remain relevant. In any future regional conflict or stabilization effort involving Afghanistan, Pakistan's cooperation would again be essential. Therefore, the U.S. cannot afford to fully alienate Islamabad, regardless of how close its ties with India may become. Pakistan also plays a significant role in the Muslim world. As one of the few Muslim majority nations with a strong military and nuclear capabilities, it commands respect across the Islamic world. This gives the United States an indirect channel to influence various issues across the Middle East and North Africa by maintaining a working relationship with Pakistan. This influence can be useful in mediating conflicts, countering extremist ideologies, or even negotiating behind the scenes with hard-to-reach actors. From a strategic perspective, Pakistan is not merely a South Asian player. It is a connector to broader Islamic geopolitical currents. India, on the other hand, while being a growing partner of the West, has increasingly charted an independent course in its foreign policy. It purchases oil from Iran and Russia, resists full alignment with NATO objectives, and prioritizes its own sovereignty in global matters. This makes New Delhi a reliable partner, but not necessarily a fully aligned ally. As a result, Washington needs alternative regional players to balance the shifting alliances. Pakistan, with all its complexities, still serves that purpose when carefully managed. The U.S. also maintains a delicate balancing act when it comes to South Asian stability. Openly favoring one nuclear-armed nation over the other could trigger unintended consequences. By offering selective support to Pakistan military aid, diplomatic backing, or economic assistance, the United States keeps Islamabad engaged, avoiding complete reliance on China or isolation that might push the region into further instability. From military logistics to counterterrorism operations and regional balance, Pakistan's strategic geography remains an irreplaceable card in America's foreign policy hand. China's rapid rise as a global superpower has fundamentally reshaped the strategic calculations of the United States, particularly in Asia. In this evolving landscape, Pakistan has emerged as a key player, not just because of its own strengths or weaknesses, but because of its unique position in counterbalancing China's growing influence. While India is often seen as the primary U.S. partner to check Chinese power in the Indo-Pacific region, Pakistan also holds significance in a different, yet complementary way. The United States, by maintaining a relationship with Pakistan, ensures it has multiple points of engagement in a region where China's ambitions are expanding through initiatives like the Belt and Road. Pakistan has developed deep economic and military ties with China, especially through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (cpec), a flagship project of the Belt and Road Initiative. This corridor involves massive infrastructure investments and aims to connect Western China to the Arabian Sea through Gwadar Port. While this development benefits Pakistan economically, it also signals China's long-term strategic intent to secure maritime routes and expand its geopolitical footprint. The United States views this not just as an economic alliance, but as a strategic expansion by China that needs to be monitored and, where possible, moderated. Supporting Pakistan in measured ways allows the U.S. to have a say in how this relationship evolves. Despite Pakistan's close ties with China, it has historically balanced its foreign relations by also engaging with the United States. Military cooperation, training programs, and intelligence sharing have created institutional relationships that can still be activated or reactivated if necessary. By continuing some level of support and engagement with Pakistan, the U.S. preserves a counterweight to China's influence. It creates a dynamic where Pakistan is less likely to become a complete satellite of Beijing and more likely to retain some degree of strategic autonomy, which can be advantageous to Washington in the long run. The United States also understands that isolating Pakistan completely would push it further into China's orbit. Beijing is already Pakistan's largest arms supplier, its top investor, and a major player in its infrastructure development. If left unchecked, China's influence could turn Pakistan into a heavily dependent partner, one that no longer considers American interests at all. To avoid this, the U.S. chooses engagement over abandonment. Strategic engagement ensures that lines of communication remain open and that influence, however limited, is not entirely lost. Another aspect that the United States considers is the role of Pakistan in regional forums and coalitions where China is a dominant player. In forums like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO), Pakistan often acts as a bridge or intermediary between conflicting interests. Its ability to maintain relationships with both China and the West puts it in a unique position that the United States can utilize to gain insights, send indirect signals, or even negotiate unofficially in times of heightened tension. The counterbalance strategy is not only about direct military or political opposition to China, it also includes influence over regional narratives, trade partnerships, and soft power. Pakistan's media, academic institutions, and diaspora networks provide a channel through which ideas, policies, and partnerships can be influenced. By remaining engaged, the U.S. ensures it maintains access to these softer dimensions of power, which are just as critical in the long-term geopolitical contest with China as hard military capabilities. Even though India is undeniably central to America's Indo-Pacific strategy, its own interests don't always align with Washington's vision, particularly when it comes to dealing with China. India prefers a non-aligned, self-directed foreign policy. This means the U.S. must maintain secondary and even tertiary alliances in the region. Supporting Pakistan strategically, without expecting full alignment, helps in creating a web of influence rather than relying on a single partner. This multilayered strategy gives Washington more flexibility in how it responds to China's rise and more leverage in shaping regional developments. The historical relationship between the United States and Pakistan, particularly in the context of Afghanistan, has played a major role in shaping Washington's ongoing strategic interest in Islamabad. Since the late 1970s, during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Pakistan served as the frontline state for U.S.-backed resistance efforts. It was through Pakistan that American weapons, funds, and training reached the Afghan Mujahideen. This partnership solidified an operational alliance that carried over into the post-9/11 world, when the United States launched its war on terror following the attacks on the World Trade Center in 2001. From that moment, Pakistan once again became a crucial ally, offering logistical support, air bases, and intelligence cooperation for the U.S. military campaign in Afghanistan. The geography of Pakistan is central to its importance in American military planning. Sharing a long and porous border with Afghanistan, Pakistan provides the most accessible land routes into the country, especially to southern and eastern provinces that were key Taliban strongholds. The United States relied heavily on supply routes through Pakistan for its troops stationed in Afghanistan. The ground lines of communication blocks through Pakistan transported everything from food and fuel to military hardware. At the height of the war, nearly 40% of U.S. and NATO supplies passed through Pakistan despite ongoing tensions and disagreements between the two nations. This logistical dependence made it impossible for the U.S. to ignore Pakistan's role in regional stability. Beyond logistics, the intelligence relationship between the U.S. and Pakistan, particularly between the CIA and Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence (ISI), was critical during the early years of the war on terror. While trust between the agencies has always been complex and at times strained, the fact remains that much of human intelligence and on-ground operational data needed to locate Taliban and al-Qaeda elements came through Pakistani channels. Although disagreements arose, especially following the discovery of Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad in 2011, both nations understood that cooperation, however inconsistent, was still preferable to total disengagement. American policymakers also realized that Pakistan holds significant influence over the Taliban and other Afghan factions. Due to decades of religious, ethnic, and political linkages, many key leaders of the Taliban found sanctuary or ideological kinship within Pakistani borders, especially in regions like Quetta and North Waziristan. While this relationship has been the subject of global criticism, it also positions Pakistan as one of the few countries with actual leverage over Taliban behavior. When the United States sought to exit Afghanistan in a relatively stable manner, it again turned to Pakistan to facilitate negotiations with the Taliban. The Doha peace talks and later developments were made possible in part due to Pakistan's influence over key Taliban leaders. In the post-withdrawal era, the region remains volatile. Extremist groups continue to operate in the vacuum left by international forces, and the humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan is deepening. The United States, while no longer maintaining a military presence, still has a vested interest in monitoring terrorist threats that could emerge and destabilize not only South Asia but potentially reach American soil. For this purpose, it requires continued intelligence sharing and possibly covert operational cooperation with Pakistan. Remote counterterrorism operations, such as drone strikes or surveillance missions, may need airspace access or coordination, which only Pakistan can provide due to its geographical proximity. American defense planners also consider the risk of Afghanistan becoming a hub for rival powers like Russia, China, or Iran. Each of these countries has strategic interests in the region, and without U.S. presence, power vacuum could be quickly filled. In this geopolitical context, having a working relationship with Pakistan is not optional. It becomes a strategic necessity. It allows Washington to remain connected to developments on the ground, to influence outcomes through indirect means, and to avoid complete regional isolation. The long history of U.S. Pakistan collaboration in Afghanistan, despite its ups and downs, has created a foundation that continues to justify American engagement with Pakistan even as broader alliances shift. Pakistan holds a unique and influential position within the Muslim world, which significantly contributes to its strategic value in the eyes of the United States. As one of the few Muslim majority countries with a strong military, a functioning democratic framework, and nuclear capabilities, Pakistan is seen as a symbol of Islamic strength and resilience. This gives it a voice in matters that affect the broader Muslim world, especially when tensions rise in regions like the Middle East, North Africa, or South Asia. From the American perspective, maintaining a connection with Pakistan means staying connected to the pulse of Islamic geopolitical discourse, which is vital in shaping broader foreign policy goals related to peace, security, and counterterrorism. Unlike many Middle Eastern nations that are often deeply divided along sectarian or ethnic lines, Pakistan has historically presented itself as a unifying Islamic force, capable of mediating or at least engaging with various Muslim majority states, whether it's in forums like the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC) or informal diplomatic back channels. Pakistan often represents a perspective that blends military capability with Islamic identity. This dual identity gives it both legitimacy and credibility in the eyes of other Muslim countries, allowing it to serve as a bridge between Western powers and the Muslim world. The